Hello YouTube Nation, my name is Nathan and I'd like to welcome you to my kitchen. But before we get started talking about all this cheese in front of me, I want to give you my sincere thanks for tuning in and watching this show. This has been a real passion project for me for a long time, and I am extremely honored to get to share my passion for cheese with you. And for this first video, I couldn't think of a better cheese than the first cheese that I was exposed to when I was a young cheesemonger, just getting started. When I first started working in cheese, of course, I didn't know anything about cheese. All I knew was yellow Velveeta, Kraft singles, all that, and I'd never had a goat cheese before. But this Humboldt Fog from Cypress Grove, this cheese is a true American original, and it really exposed me to how wondrous the American artisan cheese world could be. And this cheese was invented, made by a lady named Mary Keene out in California, in Humboldt County, of course, a little area called Arcadia. And she says that, she had a dream one night. She wanted to make some cheese and but had a dream and envisioned this beautiful cheese with a stark white that looked like a cloud that kind of also mimicked the fog rolling into Arcadia. And if you notice, that's why she's put all this vegetable ash around it. So if you look at this cheese, you see a lot going on. So you'll see that it's got vegetable ash on the outside. They put that on there when the cheese is being made before it develops this. If you'll notice, this is what we refer to as like a bloomy rind on it. And then of course, it's like two cakey pieces of cheese stuffed together with a line of vegetable ash in the center. And that just gives a very beautiful, beautiful image. And as you can see, because this wheel is absolutely perfect, that you've got this cakey, kind of flaky cheese. Take a look at that when I take a knife. You'll see that it's a little bit flaky, kind of dense, but the closer you get to the rind, there you're gonna see what we call a cream line. And that's where the cheese really starts to ripen and develop its flavor. So you get not only two separate textures out of this cheese, but you're gonna get essentially two separate flavors as well. So what I'd like to do first is I'm just gonna cut a little bit off the edge here, and you'll see where I got a little bit of everything, where I've got some of that center paste along with that cream line. And I just want to give it a taste right now before I pair it with something special. Oh goodness, that is luscious and sexy. That's like, almost if you got, I say lactic, we say that in the world, it means kind of like milky, but it's almost like buttermilk with like citrus notes to it. It's kind of amazing. It's really, really special. It's kind of making my mouth water right now. So while my mouth is watering, I want to pair this with something. So I've got here just a little, this is like a little flatbread crisp. I think this one happens to have a little fig in there. I want to add a little bit of flavor, but for this, I like crackers with cheeses like this, more so for the texture, to give kind of like a well-rounded experience while you're dining. But for this one, I've got a great little preserve. This happens to be from Quince and Apple, and it is a fig and black tea preserve. I like it because it's all natural and it's not quite as sweet. Sometimes when we get things with cheese, you can go sweet with a lot. This just pulls that back a little bit, and I think it's going to be a pretty good pairing. Let me give it a shot and see. That's the bomb. That is amazing. What happens here is the mild sweetness of the fig and that great savoriness of the black tea pulls together with the acidity of the goat cheese to kind of just blend well. As a matter of fact, it just tastes absolutely amazing together. So again, this was invented by Mary Keene. Beautiful cheese, but not too long ago, there are those creative types over at Cypress Grove were thinking, what can we do to make this cheese not only better, but just a little bit different? So they came up with an idea called remixes. The first remix they came out with happens to be called Haze. So this is with lavender and fennel pollen. So what they do when they're making this cheese As you can see, similar format, but instead of that line of vegetable ash that goes in the center, what they do is they just put herbs in there. So this has the lavender and fennel pollen just packed in nicely to give it a line. Plus it's all mixed throughout the paste of the cheese. And it's pretty darn good. So I'm gonna give this a little try. As you can see, get a little bite off that edge. Okay, that's a tasty meatball. That's really good. I can really pick up, quite honestly, the fennel pollen kind of hits me first with an undertone of lavender, and it blends so well. Again, this goat milk cheese sometimes is acidic and citrusy, and it is point on. I love this. And I'm not gonna pair it with any food though, because quite honestly, these remixes are pairings in and of themselves, if you think about it. I know that may be a weird thing to say, but with the flavor that's in here, you don't have to put a lot of jams or anything on there. You can just enjoy the cheese just the way it is. And that's something that's really special about it. The other thing that's special is that these are seasonal cheeses. So you really can't find them all throughout the year. And I know that may make you sad after you fall in love with it, but they keep rotating in and out. It gives you the opportunity to taste something wonderful for a short amount of time before you move in to another flavor. So you won't get tired of it. But I am still gonna pair something with it, and it's gonna be a little bit of Sauvignon Blanc. So a Sauvignon Blanc, a lot of times are kind of grassy, maybe even a little minerally in flavor. Let me just have a couple of swigs and see what this is like. Just as I described. Kind of got a little bit of grassy notes to it. I think it's gonna go well with the herbs and the acidity of the goat cheese. I wanna find out. Oh, that's so wonderful. That's luscious. So the last cheese I'm gonna talk about is one of my favorite remixes, because this uses Chipotle peppers and cacao. So the chocolate actually comes from a local chocolatier in Humboldt County, and I like that they put that in there because the peppers can be pretty intense, but that chocolate note kind of brings it all back together. So when I was thinking, well, what do I have around my house that I think could go really well with this? And I was like, I got a milk stout. So I'm banking on the fact that this chocolatey kind of flavor of the milk stout is gonna pull back a lot of that spiciness that we're gonna find here in this cheese and pull up some of the more chocolate notes that are in the cheese itself. But first, just like the rest, I'm gonna give this a taste just by itself to see what that's like. Oh my goodness. That's nice. Okay, so upon taking that in my palate, I got a little bit of acidity to start out with. Now those Chipotle peppers are really rising up on my taste buds. It's amazing. Got a nice little spice to it. I'm not picking up a whole lot of chocolate just yet, but let's see what happens. Oh, oh, that's on point, people. This is delightful. I gotta try that again. Again, like without the milk stout, the spiciness of this cheese really pops up, but kind of brings it down, makes it more chocolatey. Oh goodness, I love that. Well, and speaking of love, if you loved all the products we talked about today, all these cheeses, we're gonna have a link in the bio to Cypress Grove. Give it a click, check out their site, check out more of their cheeses. They make wonderful, wonderful products. And don't forget to also shoot me some love by liking this video, subscribing of course, leave a comment if you want to. I love to interact with everybody, answer your questions, or even see what you want us to show later on. And also, I think there's a bell icon. If you hit that little bell icon, it'll send you a notification every time we put out a new video. So thank you so much for watching. It looks like I've got a lot of cheese left to eat, and looks like I'll be double fisting for the rest of the day. I hope everybody has a beautiful rest of your afternoon.